Hi everybody, I hope you are all well. It's Christmas Eve. We are finally here at the end of the Bookishly Advent calendar, which I'm quite sad about because I've really enjoyed doing it. And as promised, I am in my other Christmas jumper that I bought myself this year, because you've seen my Ravenclaw one. I am wearing the Lord of the Rings Christmas jumper, which obviously the Lord of the Rings, you have the ring, you have a Black Rider, you have the Hobbits. I've got one ring to rule them all, and Gollum, one ring to rule them all, and Gollum there, and on the back is Mount Doom and Shelob, and I absolutely love it. I think my dad's going to really love it too, because he's loved Tolkien. He introduced me to Tolkien as a child, so yeah, I'm sure he's going to love it too when he sees me later today. But anyway, I am here to open the final Bookishly Advent calendar for book for 2022. In case you haven't seen any of my previous books, previous videos about these books, get my words in the right order. I got the Bookishly 12-day Advent calendar where I get 12 classic books with a uniquely designed dust cover for Bookishly, and they all wrapped up, and I have no idea what book is going to be, but I think I know what this one is going to be, because the description of the calendar did say that there would be a festive one in there, and we haven't had a festive one yet, and it's the last one, and it's Christmas Eve, so what could it be? I think we can all guess, but let's confirm it. So here we go. Oh, let's guess from the back again as usual. Oh, I see a skyline. It looks like various house skyline and stars and such, and if we spin it around, it's A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I really like that. I really love that it's the night sky and the London Victorian skyline and everything. I like the fact that Scrooge and all the other characters aren't on it, because I did think, because I guessed it would be A Christmas Carol, I did wonder if it was going to be like, we see Scrooge and then we see like the different ghosts scattered about and all this lot, but no, we get this really lovely London skyline, which I really love. No Spotify bar or information about who the designer is, as usual. Okay, that's interesting. The Wordsworth cover is that. Now that doesn't scream Christmas Carol to me. That screams Santa. But there we go. But technically, I suppose, because this is A Christmas Carol and other short stories, Christmas stories by Charles Dickens. So I suppose it kind of makes sense that went with cover, but still, that doesn't work with me. This cover does, though. This is beautiful. I really love it. Okay, so A Christmas Carol, the classic story. In case you don't know what it's about, it's set in Victorian England and follows a guy called Ebenezer Scrooge, who basically cares about money, and just he loans people money and such, and gets money back from them. He has his like bank and such, and he very much, money is the key thing. He doesn't like to think with his emotions and such and all that. It's money is the key thing that will help you survive. And on the build up to Christmas, he gets visited by the ghost of his partner in the firm, Jacob Marley, who basically said, look, you are doomed for all time unless you change your ways, and the only way you're going to change your ways is if I've got some, ghost friends who are going to visit you, 3 ghost friends, to help you turn to good, because I don't want this terror that I now have as my reality to be yours. And so he gets visited by the ghosts of Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future, or Christmas yet to come, as it's also known. And yeah, it's all about finding about what Christmas means and what it means to be a good person, not just at Christmas, but through the whole year. And it's absolutely wonderful. Charles Dickens is one of my favorite writers. And yeah, he wrote this very famously in a very, very short length of time. I think it was a matter of like a few weeks or something. It was, to get it from idea to published, it was super, super fast. And the drawings that are within A Christmas Carol, the original drawings, which are, because I was flicking through this, I could see that they are there, are very famous. For example, there's the Fezziwig Ball. They're absolutely wonderful, wonderful drawings and such. And yeah, it is a classic because of what it tells you about what it means to be human. And it basically, it triggered this thing that suddenly people started reading A Christmas Carol when it was released, and donations to charities like skyrocketed. Charles Dickens, very much, you can see in his other writings that he understood about various things that were happening, and he especially wanted to write the true authenticity about the little guy. Basically, he had a troubled upbringing, and so he knew things that people suffer through, and so he represented them. So for example, in Nicholas Nickleby, there's a whole thing about a private school where parents send their children and pay loads of money, and it turns out that these boys, it's a boys' school I should say, sorry, are being sent off to the country, to this farm, and are being horrifically abused, and having all their possessions taken off of them, and their parents think they're being looked after and well loved and everything, and they're not, and they're being starved and beaten. And because of that book, reviews then started in politics and such, government reviews and such of such school systems took place, and loads of schools were shut down because he wrote that book. So when, with A Christmas Carol, he was writing about the true realities of how the poor have to deal with, the struggles of feeding their family, but also, trying to celebrate Christmas, but also trying to keep warm, and, all of that kind of thing. And people were donating like crazy to charities after reading this book, and it continued on, and it has continued on to this day. So it's not just a story about how life events can impact you no matter what age, because we follow Scrooge's life, obviously, because through the ghosts, all the way from when he was a child, all the way through to his possible ending. But it also tells us about what it means to be human, and that we have to look out for each other. And especially like now at the moment, with so many people requiring food banks, and the rate of pay and the cost of living, and it is that thing that no matter, I think this is why Charles Dickens also is so relevant, is that no matter what year, what decade and such that you come across his writing, it's completely relevant to the present time. It's insane. It is absolutely insane that there are these struggles now in 2022 going into 2023. But yeah, it is astonishing that how you have these voices from hundreds of years ago who are going, yeah, we've been there, and this is it. it makes it more, this is going to sound really, really stupid, but it makes it more real, the story of A Christmas Carol more real, when you have these things that are going on in your society directly in front of you or directly impacting you. And there's this voice from the past going, it's scary, isn't it? But history does that. It repeats itself constantly repeats itself. But yeah, I always do love that Charles Dickens sticks up for the little guy. And with The Christmas Carol also, I love the fact that it tells you that anyone can change at any point. And sometimes it can be like the tiniest change can make a massive, massive difference. And, it's the thing about accepting and dealing with loss and grief and learning to forgive. And I especially feel that with his nephew, how I'm not going to, obviously spoil and everything if you haven't read it, if you don't know it and you want to look into it. But I always feel that with his nephew, that there had been hostility simply because of grief. And there is a way to move on from that. And the fact that his nephew doesn't go, well, fuck you or whatever, kind of, you've been so mean to me all my life and everything when I've done nothing wrong. I don't want you here, get the hell out, which could be totally valid for him to do. And he doesn't do that. And that is just so wonderful. I love that particularly about this story. And of course, obviously, you have Tiny Tim and Bob Cratchit, and it's so full of life and warmth, but there's a lot of darkness in this story, especially obviously the ghosts of Christmas yet to come. And yeah, it's one of the most stunning, wonderful, and brutally truthful examinations of human nature, I feel. And I love to read it. I love to read A Christmas Carol or to listen to adaptations of it or watch films of it and such. I absolutely love it. Now, there are like 10 million versions of A Christmas Carol out there, on in film, and in TV series, in radio dramas, that kind of thing. I'm just going to quickly look because I have got a version on Audible, which I think is an Audible exclusive, which I really like to listen to. Let me just look it up. Christmas Carol. There it is. So yes, it's an Audible exclusive. So if you have Audible, you can download it for free. And it is this version right there. So it's got Sir Derek Jacobi, Roger Allen, Jenna Coleman, Bernard Coyle, Kenneth Cranham, and Miriam Margolyes. I love it. It is really great. So truthful to the book. Radio dramas are always so truthful to books when they're adapted. I love that. So yeah, that's an Audible original. And if you've got Audible, you can get it for free. I also really love, obviously, A Muppet Christmas Carol. Hello, it is the best adaptation on film, just to clarify, on film, of A Christmas Carol. I defy anyone to tell me otherwise. I also really like the Jim Carrey version that was done, directed by I think it's Robert Zemeckis. That's really great. And of course you got like Scrooge from the 1940s. That's brilliant. There's so many, but there were also one that I really want to shout out. It's from 2019 with Guy Pearce playing Scrooge. That version, holy shit, that version is brilliant. And we cannot get it on iPlayer anymore here. the channel Roku, who's supposed to have it, doesn't have it, because I searched for it yesterday with my mum because we wanted to watch it. And yeah, and it's never come out on DVD. So I can't get hold of it. And it is brilliant. Yes, there are changes. Yes, there are, you could argue some things that have been modernized or what, you know, kind of thing. But I do love the fact that it is its own unique thing, and it makes it very, very clear that this is a sort of a combination of based and inspired. So what I mean by that are things like, I love the fact that Tiny Tim is played by an actor who has dwarfism. I love the fact that Scrooge, in the end, he doesn't necessarily get all the things that he expected to get. And he gets told to his face, look, there are some things that are going to take some time. I can't just forgive you like that. I have to take my time because of all the shit that you did, which is totally valid. And I love the fact that a character says that to his face. You know, that kind of thing. And the aesthetic of it is beautiful. Like, oh, it was brilliant. I really liked it. There was one or two little moments in there that I was like, was that necessary? I don't know. But as I said, it's kind of going, this is its own unique thing. And I really, really love that. So if you're able to watch the 2019 Guy Pearce version, please do. It is absolutely brilliant. And yeah, as I said, there's so many others everywhere about that. I'm sure there's ones that you have on your, you know, ultimate list of the best adaptations. But my favourites, as I said, are Muppet Christmas Carol, that Audible version, the Guy Pearce version, and Scrooge from the 1940s. I love it so much. But there we go, all done, everyone. So those were the Bookishly Advent Calendar 2022 Adult Edition books done for the year. God, that has gone so quickly, but I really, really enjoyed this. And I hope you have as well. And all of your lovely comments that I've had through these videos have been amazing. And I'm actually considering doing this again next year, but next year be the child edition, which you're probably wondering why. Well, one, I want to see all of the amazing covers, because the covers of these books that I've gotten have been incredible, and I'd love to see the children's ones. But also, I'm going to make a little confession here. I think there's a load of children's books that I have never read, and I'd like to perhaps look into. So, for example, and I'm going to say it, I've never read The Jungle Book. I've never read that. And there are, you know, like Treasure Island. Not read it. Or I cannot remember reading it. I remember I had this anthology book of like child classic stories and such, but it was like you would get like 1 or 2 chapters at most, and then that was it. Like, so like, and I suppose other things like maybe like Peter Pan, and I definitely haven't read Tom's Midnight Garden. I'd quite like to read that one. Secret Garden I categorically have read that one, and my copy is actually on my coffee table that my mum made into paper flowers in a paper vase. So it was a tree that became a book that became flowers, which I absolutely adore. And yeah, it was a very, very special present from my mum. And yeah, so I quite like to try the child edition one. So if you guys would be interested in me doing that as well for 2023, let me know and I'll make sure I'll record it. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a very, very Merry Christmas, whatever you're doing, however you're spending your day tomorrow. And yeah, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely time. All right, guys, bye.